A big thank you to all of my awesome Patreon supporters like Jeff Ang and Rick Rack. Thank all of you so much. With Aleister Black now officially released from WWE, there are many fans who are still in shock at this announcement, as he just made his re-debut on SmackDown, appeared to be starting a new feud, and was a known indie commodity before he ever set foot in an NXT ring. This has left many wondering, whatever happened to the former and once again Tommy End? So without further ado, here are 7 reasons why WWE never pushed Aleister Black. Too soon. On February 18th, 2019, Raw saw Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, and Ricochet debut alongside Aleister, which led to absolutely nothing. Allegedly, Vince asked who were the very best of NXT, and these gentlemen were the answers that he was given. McMahon's supposed plan was to help boost the Raw ratings by pillaging the third brand's top talent. This, of course, did not work. But even though Ciampa and Gargano were booked to be tag partners on that fateful episode of Raw, despite being in the middle of a feud, they were at least allowed to quietly slip back into NXT, where they are to this day, dodging the directionless booking that Aleister and Ricochet have had to endure. And while there were rumors that Aleister Black would be returning to the black and yellow brand, they clearly never came into fruition. Ultimately, while fans debate on whether or not NXT still counts as developmental, it still remains true that it plays a very important part in adapting to the WWE style for many wrestlers. And in terms of finishing up his business in NXT, which include continuing to adapt his style to that of WWE's way of wrestling, it seems safe to say that perhaps Aleister just had a little bit more work to do before going up to the main roster. Kick out. Aleister Black's style has been described as a hybrid of mixed martial arts and wrestling. And while there are those who absolutely love what Aleister does in the ring, for some people, this simply translates to a bunch of kicky nonsense. While there have been rare exceptions to this rule like Daniel Bryan, for the most part, having a lot of kicks in your arsenal really doesn't get you too far in WWE, especially when your finisher is yet another kick. Black Mass, the Claymore, the Kinshasa, the Bro Kick, the Haluva Kick. There are enough foot finishers to make you wonder if maybe Quentin Tarantino has the book. But out of all those, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus are the ones who have done the best in WWE. This might be because while both men do use kicks as finishers, they don't really kick all that much throughout the rest of their match. And while Aleister does also incorporate some amazing dives and flips into his in-ring game, kicks and flips sometimes draw the ire of a lot of old school professional wrestling fans. Aleister is at his best when he uses his moves to tell well-crafted stories, but you have to get past his feat of fury in order to see it, which is not something that everyone is capable of. Looks aren't everything. Another thing that Sheamus and Drew have over Aleister Black is their physiques. Aleister isn't very tall for a wrestler, and his myriad of tattoos are not laced over a series of muscles. Plus, many people, including Vince, thoroughly believe that a wrestler needs to look the part. And while he definitely looks like one tough dude, he still doesn't quite have the appearance of a traditional WWE superstar. Gothic tones. Going beyond Aleister's body type, the overall look and presentation is difficult for some to get behind, as he's really not a supernatural character with special powers. He's just a guy who's kind of cryptic, I guess? The goth gimmick is something that WWE has always struggled with, as they very seldom seem to know how to present it, as WWE management sometimes struggles to wrap their heads around a brooding character as a main event talent, which is maybe why Aleister Black went through his turn as an eye patch wearing heel. Furthermore, the black leather tattooed heavy metal vibe is just yet another thing that is played out in today's wrestling. Ball and chain. Aleister isn't the only member of his household who has been released by WWE as of late, since his wife Zelina was also let go by the company, and with that, many were anticipating that Aleister Black would follow her soon thereafter, either voluntarily or because WWE was making him guilty by association. And with Lana now being released not too far after Rusev was, some people might think that this whole thing seems a bit suspicious. Sure, maybe it's just a coincidence, or maybe pink slips come in his and hers. Foreign relations. Another possible reason as to why Aleister Black might never have gotten featured too heavily could be because of another pattern WWE tends to have, and that's not pushing foreign talent too often. Again, there are exceptions to this rule, but there are also way too many examples of wrestlers who are not from North America and never got the main event championships that many felt they deserved. So perhaps being from the Netherlands puts Aleister Black in the very same category in Vince's mind as wrestlers like Cesaro and Wade Barrett, who the fans want to see more of, but management doesn't really seem to care. Paul Heyman guy. Continuing with Vince's outlook, it should be noted that he doesn't speak for everyone, as it has been reported that there were other backstage personnel who were pretty high on Aleister, namely Paul Heyman. Allegedly, Aleister was a Paul Heyman guy during Paul E's time running Raw, but after Paul E was removed from that position, some say that there was something of a vendetta against some of his former favorite picks. And when it was reported that Aleister Black had been left off TV because he had simply been forgotten about, this became the worst case scenario for many of his fans who wanted to see him succeed in WWE. Hopefully, Aleister Black can turn it all around. He has a very positive outlook, is appreciative of his time in WWE and all he's gotten out of it, plus he is also capable of putting on great matches if given the right opportunity. So, while it might seem like Aleister has faded to black for the foreseeable future, that doesn't mean that this is the end of Tommy, end.